What makes a main character not just good, but great? Some main characters are in a league of their own. Some make us laugh. Some of them help us through our hardest times. Some of them show us it's okay to cry. And some of them just make us cry.
If there's any way, I want to keep on renting you out.
Oh man, this shit sucks. It's no secret that some MCs carry a show, and it's not a far stretch to say that without a great main character, you can't have a great show. So what is it that makes us despise some main characters? And what is it that makes us fall in love with others? Well, today you and I are going to break down exactly what it is that makes a main character not just good, but great.
Here we go.
You all have your first main character you loved. Maybe it was Naruto, maybe it was Goku, maybe it was Ichigo, or maybe if you were cultured enough, it was Kotaro from Golden Boy.
Yes, ma'am! Dominate me!
But regardless of who it was, that main character and all of the ones who followed after that, the ones that you loved, they all shared something in common. No, they didn't necessarily share the same traits, not the same looks or even morals. Hell, they might even be completely different characters. But the one thing they share is how they made you feel. And to understand that feeling, you have to first understand these three key factors. Number one, the impact that they have on the story. Number two, the complexity of the character and the growth they go through. And number three, the emotional connection you share with that character. Here, let's take these key formulas and let's apply it to some bigger, well-known anime. Now, there's so many great main characters to pick from. Do we want the free-spirited main character or the mastermind main character? Or do we perhaps want an emotional main character?
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
Okay, here's Eren Yeager. Using our key factors from earlier, what makes Eren a great main character? Eren isn't just a protagonist of Attack on Titan. He's the driving force behind the whole anime. Although there are lots of characters and plot points that shape Eren into who he is, from episode 1 we see Eren's rage, we see his obsession, and we see his hunger for freedom propel the story forward. Eren himself sets off this chain of events that reshape his entire world. And unlike passive protagonists who react to the plot, Eren in a mindfuck kind of way is the plot. Eren and his choices dictate the fate of nations, and his evolution from a child to a ruthless anti-hero keeps the audience constantly questioning their own morals. His impact on the series is so massive that by the end, the story isn't just about fighting titans. It's about Eren versus the world itself. And that's just the impact he has on the story. Okay, let's change directions here. What about a less brash main character? Okay, here's a great one. Kotaro from Kotaro Lives Alone. This anime is about a boy, and as you can tell from the title, he lives alone. At first, it seems like a cozy slice of life about a young boy who lives alone and just does his best while doing so. But Kotaro, despite being just a little child, has a surprisingly large impact on his story. His unique perspective on life shapes and heals the lives of adults who surround him. His presence in the anime forces everyone, and especially his neighbors, to re-examine how they live their own lives. Kotaro's growth is a journey of healing and learning to trust others again, and at the same time, he heals those around him. So right there, you can see the impact he has on the story, and not only that, but the complexity of his character. But beside his growth, how do we emotionally feel and connect to Kotaro? The emotional connection we share with Kotaro is immediate and intense. He's a character that you instantly feel a deep sense of empathy for, or someone you want to protect. Although we see kids living alone in anime all the time, Kotaro's story hits different. He's a literal child. Now, watching this series, we see him reconnect with adults, and we see him learn to grow because of that. His growth into someone who can lean on others rather than carry the weight of the world around by himself really does draw us in emotionally. And this series left me crying in most episodes. And that's just the power that a great main character can have on you. But now, let's talk about the opposite. Let's talk about some absolute anus and mid main characters. Now, if you like these main characters, trigger warning, I'm sorry you have bad taste. Makoto from School Days is a character who sucks a bunghole. He has a lack of morals, he is selfish, and his inability to take responsibility for his actions makes you just want to chop off his head. His indecision, emotional manipulation, and complete lack of regard for the people around him make him incredibly frustrating to watch. And speaking of frustrating to watch and incredibly down bad, this guy is some low-hanging fruit on the hate tree, but you know what? When the fruit is ripe, you gotta pick it. Now, when I think of infuriating main characters, this man lives rent-free in my head. He's got a luxury 3-room apartment, and it's pretty nice up in there. That's right, Kazuya from Rent-A-Girlfriend. Kazuya is indecisive, selfish, and overall just unlikable. He's just so dumb. He's constantly making these poor life decisions which are either driven by his insecurities, lack of emotion, or just horniness. And the only redeeming quality that he has is that he's constantly trying to help, or he's trying to do his best, I guess, if you could call it that.
I thought you were based. I thought you were my little PogChamp.
So we've covered an emotionally manipulating ass clown and a crybaby insecure mess, but let's finish that off with a couple of underrated main characters that deserve more attention. Alright, I want to talk about Sato from The Devil is a Part-Timer. Sato is a hilarious, well-rounded character. He comes from being a demon lord in the underworld, and then he makes his way to Earth. But rather than being obnoxious and just overpowered, he uses his ability to get a job at McDonald's. Does he try to enslave the nation here? No. He just does a perfect job at McDonald's. All Sato wants is to adapt to a new life in the human world, and he's funny, he develops humility, and he's just genuinely likable. Okay, one more MVP who deserves more notice, and then we will talk about an important subject. Now, I love my romance anime, and one romance main character who doesn't get enough credit is Sorata from Pet Girl of Sakura-so. Sorata is an average dude, and to be honest, he isn't good at anything. Sound familiar? Now, Sorata is surrounded by geniuses in their own field. He's the main character, but he's constantly trying to balance finding what he's good at and then failing at that thing every time he tries. And now on top of all this, he has to look after an art prodigy. Mashiro is the art prodigy who can't even do basic chores.
There's no room up here.
Sorata is underrated as a main character because you can relate to him so much. He just wants to do well in life, and he's constantly showing you through his own pain and sadness that if you stick with it, eventually things will work out. Okay, before we finalize this video, we need to finalize number 1. Can a main character really ruin an anime that bad? And do we even need a main protagonist? And so to answer this, I feel we should look at an anime like Vinland Saga. So looking at Vinland Saga, can a main character really ruin an anime that bad? I want to say that it might not ruin it completely, but there is a large possibility that it could leave a pretty bad lingering smell around the anime. Or maybe even a bad taste, like egg fart. No one likes egg fart. Okay, for example, Vinland Saga spends a lot of time not surrounding the main character, Thorfinn. Instead, it spends a lot of the time building and exploring other characters like Askeladd, Canute, and also the other Viking leaders. I mean, after Thorfinn is done with his revenge and rage, the second season just gets so boring. Which leads me to the second half of that question. Do we really need a main character? Now, technically, no. There's a lot of different anime that focus heavily on alternate characters, or at least spend a large time and majority away from their main protagonist. But in Vinland Saga, regardless of slow pacing or not, when the main character loses his way, and his ballsack? Yeah, I mean, it can make an anime pretty stinky. And yeah, the show can go on without him, but can we not? Can we just not do that? Yeah, let's not do that. Now for the quote-unquote finale. The Krabby Patty secret formula of great main characters. The special ingredient is... well, damn, it's a lot of things. I can't just give you one thing that will make an anime character great. I have to give you 20 things. The main character must have, but not be limited to: number 1, strong motivation and goals. A great protagonist must have clear goals that drive their actions. For example, as I said earlier, Eren from Attack on Titan is relentless with his goals and desire for freedom. Number 2, they must have meaningful character growth. Our main character must evolve over time, not too fast, not too slow, and they must always be learning from mistakes and experiences. Number 3, emotional depth. Our main character should feel genuine and they should feel human. They should showcase a range of emotions rather than just one-note personalities. You know, don't be boring. Onions have layers, cakes have layers, and ogres have layers. Relatability. Speaking of genuine and human, relatability is something that is mandatory in certain genres of anime. Even in a fantasy world setting, characters should have fears or insecurities and maybe even struggles that feel real. Because how else are we going to relate to them? Number 5, our main character should have a unique personality and presence. The main character should feel distinct. They should stand out from any generic or forgettable protagonists. And you know what? In saying all of this, I already feel sorry for writers who have to try to generate a refreshing character that no one's ever heard of. Because I mean, we're only at number 5 and I'm already getting confused. All right, let's rapid fire the next 10. The main character should have a balance of strength and flaws, strong character relationships, internal struggles and conflicts, charisma or at least a memorable design, consistency in their morals, a clear philosophy or belief system. It can be wrong, but nope, we need to know why it's wrong. I also need to see them overcome some sort of struggle. They must drive the story forward. They must have an iconic moment. And if applicable, they should be funny as fuck. Woo, that's number 15. Oh yeah. Subscribe. Now for the last 5. A main character is interesting if they are morally complex. You know, not just a goody-good main character or not just evil. They should have layers. Like Shrek. A good example is Light Yagami. He starts out as a well-meaning genius, but slowly turns into an absolute gooner. Number 17. A main character's growth should feel earned. Some of you like when a main character is just overpowered as hell. Well, not me. I like foreplay with my main characters. Speaking of foreplay, number 18, they should also be unpredictable. If a main character is too predictable, they become boring, and boring characters suck. Okay, these last 2 I'm going to merge together because... oh no, I'm just fucking getting over this. Just like you are. And these 2 are no less meaningful than the rest, and that is that a main character should have a meaningful character arc and resolution. The end. Now to summarize all of this yap, I have to say, damn, you're still here? Thank you. So as we all know, there are a lot of tropes and themes that these popular main characters share. But at the end of the day, what makes a great main character is purely preference. Yeah, the 20 things I just mentioned earlier have to come into play, but what I love, you might hate. And at the end of the day, all of these themes that you love, eventually, if they are overdone, you will grow to dislike them. So guys and girls, I'm sure I've missed something. Let me know what you think makes a main character great down below in the comments section. Feel free to slap the shit out of the like and subscribe button and my anus. And as I said, drop those comments. I don't know what else I can really ask for. You can click this video here. Or is it this side? I don't know. Wherever the video is, just click it. Click it. Love you. Bye.